Hello, my lovely friends, and welcome to day 5 of Planmas. So I stuck in like that 30-second clip at the beginning just to kind of show it was pretty silent in the room except for like the TV was on. So I was like updating my planners and journals on Tuesday night while watching Breaking Bad with my husband. And so I'm just kind of going through the process. I do have this sped up a bit. And, yeah, so sorry, lost my train of thought. I'm not so good with the voiceovers, friends. But the first part was just me like looking through my weeks and doing some quick updates and really just going through my trackers and like my to-do list and tracking what I had done that day. I didn't make like a daily to-do list because I just honestly didn't feel like it. So I just kind of worked for my weekly, and then currently I am in my health weeks and just on my monthly page, updating my trackers, noting headaches if I hit my 10,000 steps in the day, and also writing in my specific workout. That's kind of how I'm using the monthly right now. On the weekly pages, I'm writing in a quick synopsis of my overall mood and mental health for that day. And I did note that I was feeling a little bit tired. I was still kind of struggling to get back in the groove of things after being off for a week. And then I also noted that I, felt a little bit frustrated and stressed at the end of the workday. It was one of those crazy busy days. And sometimes I just feel a little stressed and overwhelmed. In that right-hand column, that's where I'm writing my physical symptoms. So I had experienced some right knee pain. It's cold and I feel it. And then I also had a headache. And then I rated my day at a 3. And then for self-care, I just noted that I went to the gym, I read, and I planned. I consider planning to be a form of self-care because it really helps to mitigate stress for me. And then I noted like my sleep, my energy level, and went through my habits. And I was like, oh, I need to take my medication. So I went ahead and took that while I was filling this part out. And then I go to the back page where I have my monthly tracker set up. And I was like fussing with the tab there, trying to figure out how to do it. And I had watched Nessie Plans video. Yeah, Nessie Plans. I was about to say Nessie Planses, but I had watched Nessie Plans video earlier that day. And I think she got this idea from somewhere else where she like drew a line to delineate different things. So like I had a section for mood, a section for sleep, energy, health, and self-care. So I was trying to just like draw lines to kind of separate them visually for me. Because even though like I did the every other line with highlighting to, break things up visually, I was still kind of struggling. So I went ahead and did that. And then I filled in my tracker. And then you'll see me come in here with the tip of my Tombow and just kind of fill in like what each line sections off. And I used the thin tip. It was the thin tip or the pointy tip on the Tombows. They're still pretty thick. Sorry, y'all. My allergies are terrible right now. But I just kind of filled that in. And if you hear noise or, things in the background, just know that, people live here. And I don't ever live in a house that's completely silent. So that was pretty much my entire planning routine for that evening. So then I'm kind of getting into working in my Hobonichi hone. And I'm not going to go too much into detail about like particularly what I'm writing. I just really wanted to show like my process. And I did speed this video up in double time. So it's like 2 times faster than what was happening in real life. So this is about probably like less than an hour, not quite 45 minutes, but less than an hour process. And I consider this to be a form of my self-care. And I enjoy just sitting down and doing this while the TV's playing in the background. My husband and I were actually watching Breaking Bad. We're like on the last season, like towards the end of the episodes, and that show is so chaotic and stressful and good grief. So like there were times like I would like pause and like we would chit chat about the show and all that stuff. But I was just trying to fill in my weekly page because I already had like 2 weeks that were blank. So I very minimally filled this in using my Tombow Fudina Soke hard and soft tips, and then also my, what is the pen? Zebra Sarasa clip. I think this is like the vintage collection in the red. This is a really nice red color. It's not like super bright and in your face, which I like. And then I went on the bottom part of like each vertical column and decided I wanted to kind of like write in my Planmas videos. I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try to do it for the entire, at least 12 days. I think I can do 12 days for sure, but I don't know if I'm going to keep going. But yeah, I just kind of like noted like highlights of the day. And then at the bottom there, I specified like exactly like what videos I posted for each day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, sorry, y'all, I got the sniffles. I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like I'm going to sneeze any minute now. But I go into this. I got this sticker book from Michael's like a few years ago. I really like it. I'm trying to use it up. So I just pulled like a bunch of deco from it that I thought was cute. I'm very much in the Christmas spirit, y'all. So Christmas explosion and all the things right now. And then I used washi tape. It's like this plaid washi tape. So a few years ago, I like to make like journals or scrapbooks for Christmas. I don't always like complete them, but I like to at least start them every year. That's real talk. So I had bought like this like huge pack of like Christmas inspired washi off of Amazon a few years ago. And you know, I think I mentioned that in like a previous video. I just feel like washi tape lasts forever. And so I've loved all this plaid washi. It was so stinking cute here. So I just, decorated up all randomly and put random stickers and whatnot just to kind of make this page super cute. And I just realized I'm like flipping through the sticker book, not in frame. I am so professional here. I'm just playing. Look at that. It's a stocking sticker, y'all. I'm like watching this as I narrate it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now I'm just doing a little flippity flip to my actual daily page. And I like to turn the book over on its side to try to like even out the pages. So I am journaling on December 3rd, and I decided that instead of stickers, I wanted to do some watercoloring. I have really, like for the past few weeks, been enjoying watercoloring in my hone, and it's been fun. I love like the crinkle. Hold on. I'm going to like do the crinkle sound. I don't have a mic, y'all, so I'm just like talking directly into but I love like the crinkle of the paper. Like when you watercolor on it, it is absolutely just music to my ears. So please know that this is not a tutorial on watercoloring. This is me just demonstrating and sharing my journaling practice. And I like to paint in flowers and botanicals and leaves when I am working in my Hobonichis. I just think they look really pretty watercolor performs very differently on Tomoe River paper than it does like on, say, like cotton watercolor paper. And I think that's one of the things I like about doing it. It's not something like, it's not, you can't really, you can't go light to dark. I don't think I'm explaining this well. It just performs differently. If you watercolor, you might understand what I'm talking about. It's very different, but I like the look and the effect that it has. And I typically will do like an ink and wash in here. So I paint very intuitively. Like I'll think to myself like, oh, some red, burgundy, pink, purple flowers would look really pretty. And then I just paint until I feel like it looks the way I want it to, essentially. So, and I just have really enjoyed doing this. So I used to watercolor in here a lot, and I kind of like backed off from doing that. And during Thanksgiving break, I kind of got back into like my groove of watercoloring again, which is nice because this is another thing or another hobby that I have that I really enjoy doing that I feel like has been really good for like my mental health, and it's a great way to like just keep my hands busy and also like embrace like the creative sides of myself. So I just go in and I paint until I think it looks the way I want it to look. And yes, there are times that I pause because Jesse and I were like chatting about what was happening in Breaking Bad, because that show's freaking insane. I won't do any spoiler alerts. Don't do any spoiler alerts. I think tonight I'm actually doing this voiceover on the 4th. So I think tonight we're probably going to watch like the final episode of the series and see what happens. But yeah, so I just kind of play around. I typically, when I watercolor in here, I use the same brush. I think this is a Princeton Long Round 8. I like it because like it's got like that fine tip, but it also has like that a pretty good sized body. And you'll see me like I dab a lot on paper towels, because one thing I've learned, this is like my one tip, that I have learned when I watercolor it on like Tomoe River paper, is you don't want to have too much water on it. I also did forget to mention that I do stick that little plastic pencil board thing on the back page, so that way I don't wet up a bunch of pages. I don't watercolor in here every day, but I do watercolor in here pretty frequently, or I have been over the course of the last like 2 weeks or so. So the flowers, I did like a pink, purple with some red in it. And then I thought what would look really good, like contrasting that, was like indigo colored leaves. So I just kind of like drew leaf shapes or painted leaf shapes. And that was really, really fun. And I just kind of go in. And again, I'm just painting until I like the way it looks. And then kind of go from there. And then before I start writing, I usually let the paper dry, so I'm not like smearing it, because I think I like that flower in the corner there. I think I kept rubbing my hoodie against it and getting paint on my sleeve, but it's all good. It was fine. It didn't really mess anything up. And I was also struggling to like get everything in the shot, because I'm not a professional YouTuber, y'all. I just do this for fun. So yeah, I just play around with it until it's the way I like it. But I guess I'll say with the Han, or with all of my like daily journals, is it's like, are they journals or are they like daily scrapbooks, right? Like I think like the sentiment is the same, but the terminology is different. I was like having this thought process earlier today that in my late teens into like my mid 20s, I was really into scrapbooking. Like I would buy like the 12 by 12, like, I'm talking about, like scrapbooks, and get like the papers that you slide in the plastic sleeves, and I would do like photos and make them cutesy wootsy and all that stuff. I have tons of scrapbooks like just all over my house. But I kind of like, when I found the planner community, like I kind of shifted into using like journals, like fancy planners and fancy journals, but the sentiment is still there. Like I'm still using these books to somehow document my life, which I find to be really cool because I like looking back on these from time to time. Number one, it reminds me of like where I was. Like I can even look at like some of the art I've done, like I did 2 years ago, and see how much like my art has changed and how I have found like my own way of doing things, but also like the amazing memories from life, So that's like another thing that I really, really love about working in like a daily journal. I don't consider it to be a chore. And there are some days, y'all, that like I don't write. I just paint, or I just put stickers down, or I just leave it blank, or I just have, somebody in my family write a list, write a bucket list. Where do you want to go? Like, what are places you want to visit? What do you want for Christmas? Like, those are all ways to fill your pages, but they're still so amazing to have because they're like a part of your life in that year. Does that make sense? Because, like, I'm sitting here, like, I'm getting sentimental. I have like a daughter that's a freshman in high school, and like, she's going to leave me in like less than 4 years to go to college. And so I think it's really awesome that this book is just, these books that I have are just chock full of memories of me, my family, things I do, things I think, what was going on in the world, like current events, that type of thing. So I think it's fun. And then I finished painting the flowers, and I was like, let me put some random paint streaks here. So that's kind of what I do. Sometimes this is very relaxing, like just grabbing paint and just smearing it all over the page. No rhyme or reason, no rhythm. I just want to color some stuff in, and that's kind of like what I did here. I use like various colors. I use like the indigo, I use the pink, I use some gold watercolor, like gold metallic watercolor, and just kind of smooshed it in there. And then I think I go in with like some rose gold, but this is fun too, right? Like, that's art, right? So because I ended up like coloring this whole page, I had to let it dry, obviously, before I could write on it, or if any ink that I put on here was going to smear. So I did step away from this for, I don't know, like probably 15-20 minutes or so, just to let it dry before I sat in here and wrote about my day. So that'll be the next clip in just a minute, but I hope you guys have really enjoyed my ramblings about journaling. All right, my lovely friends, I ended up speeding up this portion to ×4 because I feel like this video is just getting really rambly at this point. The whole point of this was to just show you guys how I oftentimes, if I have free time, to sit down and just be creative and have fun in my journals. And thankfully now, we had a really busy like end of summer, beginning or fall season with all the kids' activities that I was like rarely home. So it's nice to like be home and be able to sit for 45 minutes to an hour and just do something enjoyable and creative. This is a wonderful form of self-care for me to, do art and then also to write, like do those two things together, which is awesome. So just to kind of give like a brief synopsis of this journal entry, I have been noting my Planmas days and like the videos that I had go up, and then also what I already had planned for the next day. So I had noted, because this was Tuesday the 3rd, that that I had uploaded the November flip of my Hobonichi hone, and I also noted that I already had like the next days, which was the day 4 video, up and filmed and ready to go, and it was edited and scheduled for upload. So I was like feeling pretty good about that. And then noted that I was currently working on day 5s, which is the video that you guys are currently watching. So yeah, that's basically what I noted here. And then I just did like a really brief synopsis of my day. Just some notable things, that it was a pretty decent day at work. It was busy. I was at 3 schools, and it was so freaking cold outside. Oh my gosh. I had pulled out my fluffy jacket, y'all. I live in Alabama. It should not be that cold all day, but it was so cold that Tuesday. And I was between 3 schools, and every time I do school-based therapy, so every time like I was like going between schools, I had like my cart, my backpack, and my purse with me. So yeah, and also I think I said it in my vlog that I needed to get gas that Monday, and I didn't, and that was going to be a Tuesday problem, and I would regret that, and I 100% did, because it was cold and I really didn't feel like pumping gas, but my gas light was, yeah, it was hollering at me. I had like 18 miles left, so I had to get gas. So I did my 3 schools, and then I did a Dunkin' run that day, which I did put a sticker down. I like to save my Dunkin' stickers because, ephemera and memories, but I put that down in my weekly. Also noted that I had went to the gym and that I got in a good workout, but I forgot my scrunchie, so I had to work out with my hair down, and I have long hair. Like, my hair is like past mid-back. And so that was not fun, and I will make sure that I don't make that error again, because it was great. Like, when I was lifting my weights, like I did upper body, my hair kept getting in my way, and I was like, ugh, annoying. And then I, hit up the treadmill. Noted that I had a pretty chill evening, typical stuff, that Jesse and I were watching Breaking Bad, that noted that Malaya had softball practice the next day, that I really need to update spending, order Christmas gifts, and that's all I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and you found this entertaining. I will see you guys for day 6. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye, friends.